What's up, guys, and welcome to the Blues and Stripes. So no intro, nothing funny to talk about today because what's there to laugh about? This is absolutely infuriating. And what's ironic to me in all of this is there are so many people saying that our owners are, clown-like, they're clowns, they need to get out. We played a club today who literally have a clown of an owner. Marinakis has done some of the most ridiculous things. He fell out with a coach that took them back into Europe last season and got rid of him for Ange Postecoglou. He has done so much to ruin Nottingham Forest, but you know why they're doing okay here at the end? Do you know why, even though they're on their fourth manager this season, they still managed to come to our place and rock up and dominate us 3-1 today? Because they have a sporting director that knows what the hell he's doing. Unlike our two idiots who have no clue what the hell they're doing. And so they have a compact team full of experience, full of players who know how to come together. So even though they're on their fourth manager this season, they still know how to work together as a team. Whereas we have a bunch of young, inexperienced talents, hardly any connection across the board. We have some players that don't even look like they want to be here anymore. And where's that all come from? The two idiots who are going out and getting this young group because, oh yeah, we're building for the future. Well, you can't build for the future if you've got no foundation. You've refused to put in any sort of experience to build this team over the next several years. And so now we still have the youth, inexperience, and inconsistency that we've had since we started this stupid project that Winstanley and Stewart were like, oh yes, we know what we're doing. Well, clearly you don't. And I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of watching this because it's embarrassing. These players look like they're just done. Outside of a couple, and I'll talk about them, but most of these players don't look like they give a shit. I'm watching defenders, I'm watching keepers for Nottingham Forest put their bodies on the line to try to keep a clean sheet. Even though they're 3 goals up, there's no chance of them losing or dropping points today because there's only 10 minutes left, and they're still putting their bodies on the line because they want that clean sheet. They're doing everything they can, whereas we have one guy who's attempting to score our first Premier League goal in 2 months. But most of the players, they don't look like they care. Knocking it around. It's the 88th minute. We're down 3-0. We haven't scored a goal in 2 months in the Premier League. And you've still got all these players that are just taking 3 or 4 touches, knocking it side to side, as if we're just playing a little possession game. There's such an apathy right now with some of these players. And some of them are playing themselves out of the club. And the only bright thing I can take away from today, the only little bit of hope that I can take out of today is that if it stays this bad all the way through the end of the season, we're probably going to lose every match from here on out. We're probably going to end up in the bottom half of the table. The only bright thing that I can take out of that is it means Winstanley and Stewart might finally lose their damn jobs. Because this is all of their making. These two idiots put this all together. They've headed up this whole thing. 2 guys doing the job of one man at every other club except for Tottenham, who are on nearly getting relegated. Unfortunately, they're not going to now because they finally managed to turn it around at the end. One of 2 clubs that have 2 sporting directors at the top. And we wonder why it's all falling apart. We wonder why these idiots don't know what they're doing because they can't do this job. So again, I ask any Chelsea fan that's watching this, I know there might not be many because honestly, I don't like to watch reviews or anything like that after a match like this, but any Chelsea fan that's screaming Blue Co out, Clear Lake out, we got to get the owners out, focus your attention on the 2 idiots that actually created all of this. The 2 that headed up the transfers, the coaching, all of that. They are the ones that actually have put this together. They were put in charge of this project and they failed miserably. So let's get them out and get somebody in this sporting director role that actually knows what he's doing and knows how to put together a good, solid team and get a manager who's capable of taking that team and building them. So anyway, that's my sporting director rant done. As far as the players today, I mean, there's not much to talk about. And for Sanchez, there was nothing really that was awful about him today. The 3 goals, not really much he can do on any of them, although he did do the one thing on the penalty that I personally hate, whenever a keeper basically dives out of the way of the shot instead of waiting to see where it's going. I know it's not something that's very common. I know keepers are taught to guess, take an educated guess. But for me personally, when I see my keeper dive out of the way and it goes right down the middle, I think that's embarrassing for a keeper. Because you basically jumped out of the way of his shot. Cucurella probably had his worst performance here since his first season. He looked back to the idiot that I didn't want to see at left back. Just diving into challenges. The first 2 goals come from him. dives in on both chances, and the cross comes in because he lets it happen. So he was just all over the place today. Nothing like the consistent performer that we've seen from him over the past couple seasons. So that's a little concerning, especially considering what we've heard about him possibly wanting to leave, not being happy here. This type of performance makes it look like he does really want to go. Tosin and Chalobah were both awful. Chalobah today was actually the one that was more culpable, surprisingly, but the first and third goals, both on him. First one, he does the Fofana thing of not tracking a runner who makes a run off behind him, and it's just a free header at the back. And for the third one, he kind of slows himself up. I think he was trying to play the striker offside, but why don't you block the cross? Why don't you put your body on the line, go diving in to try to block it from... He just stays up, doesn't go sliding, doesn't do anything. It's easy tapping because of it. So it's very disappointing because for me, Chalobah has been one of our more consistent defenders where most of our defense has been awful. He's actually been a decent defender this season, and he looks like he just needs to be paired with a more competent defender, like a Thiago Silva, somebody with more experience. So to see that from him today was just embarrassing. Gusto, I could go on a 10-minute rant talking about why he should not be playing, and the penalty is just another example of why, and blah, blah, blah. He shouldn't be here. Why is he playing over Acheampong? There's so much I could say about him, but I just don't want to waste my breath on it anymore. He shouldn't be here. He shouldn't be playing over Acheampong. The only thing I can say is that I know there were some rumors that Acheampong didn't want to be a right back. He wants to be a center back. So if that's why, if it's because Acheampong's trying to push to play center back, and so he's not wanting to play right back. If so, then that's on Acheampong. But if that's not the case, if he's willing to play right back, then he should be playing right back by now. As awful as Gusto has been for the past 2 seasons, there's no excuse for starting him. He has done nothing but hurt us for most of this season. Defensively, he loses track of runners. Defensively, he's awful in the air. On the attack, most of his crosses are well over. Most of his passes are giveaways. He is an awful player. Why is he still out there? But again, not going to get too far into that, but just know every time he starts, I want to gouge my eyes out so I don't have to watch his pathetic performances. And that's also why now my thumbnails, every time he starts, it's going to be hashtag #MaloDisgusto in it because it's just disgusting to watch. Into the midfield, Lavia wasn't good today. Gave away the ball too much. Defensively, he was caught out several times. In fact, the first one, it was almost all on him because he's the one putting the pressure on the ball. And instead of keeping the pressure on, he starts to run around him to get opposite of goal side of him. And that just allows for an easy pass, which then sets up for the cross. But it goes back to what I was saying in the post that I made before this match, where I think Caicedo and Santos are our best center too. Because Santos, he does the defensive work pretty well, for the most part. Not saying he's perfect, but he holds that position well, which allows Caicedo to be a bit more free-flowing and tracking down the ball, which he does typically pretty well. Lavia, I don't think, sits in there quite as well, and defensively he's culpable, and I think we saw that today. Our midfield was very open because Caicedo kind of had to sit deeper. He had to stay in that position because Lavia was roaming everywhere, and Lavia doesn't track down the ball like Caicedo does. So it's a lot easier to knock it around in the midfield with those two. But on that, I will say Caicedo also today was not at his best. Very slow. Looked more like he wanted to foul somebody rather than try to win the ball. So even if it was Caicedo and Santos, may not have made a difference today. But yeah, Caicedo and Lavia, for me, it just doesn't get the best out of either of those players. Into the front four, Enzo was at the 10, and I've said this before, I don't think he's effective there. I still think the best performances we've seen from him is when he's starting on the left and coming inside. He looks comfortable there. And it opens up the space for Cucurella to make an overlapping run. So I don't know why we're not seeing more of that, but it's something that we need to look into. Because I think when he's sitting at the 10, I just don't think we have enough creativity in there with him. Palmer once again started on the right, and like I said before, he's not a right wing. And I think we saw that again today. I know he's in a terrible run of form anyway, but I think he looks a lot less comfortable whenever he starts on the right and then has to cut inside. His best performances are typically he starts inside and then drifts out right. He draws some defenders with him. He works well with the right wing that's out there. In matches like today, where he's the right wing, he's now basically coming outside, staying outside, and then Gusto does the underlapping run. And now Gusto is in the 10 position, and he has to be our creative force. Gusto has to be our creative force. So that's why that's a huge problem. Jesse Derry on the left, I thought played really well. Very disappointed for him that he has to leave on a stretcher. Hopefully it's not too bad of an injury, but he was working hard. Didn't do anything super effective on the ball, but he's young. It's his first Premier League start, and he gave more than most of our team today. And the fact that he put his body on the line, gets himself seriously injured, wins a penalty, and then Palmer doesn't convert it, I think is absolutely atrocious. For me personally, I think Palmer should give up his monthly paycheck to Derry for that, an apology. Because that's ridiculous to me that you have your young academy prospect go out there, work harder than most of your highly paid players, goes and wins a penalty, and then the guy who's supposed to tuck it away doesn't. Like that would piss me off. His family must be absolutely livid to watch their kid go out there and get demolished, and then they don't convert the penalty that he won. Like that, to me, that's just a joke. And João Pedro up top, I thought first half wasn't great. Second half stepped up a lot, though. Really worked hard. I'm glad he got himself a goal because he deserved it based on his second half performance. But he was one of those couple that I was talking about that looked like he wanted to give it his all. He and Derry were really the only two bright spots today. Most everybody else was just awful to watch. As far as the subs that came in, Delap was the only attacking option we had on the bench, so yeah, that was a great sight to see. So he comes in for Derry and does what Delap does, which is nothing except get a yellow card. Colwill came on, I think, at halftime for Tosin, so it was good to see him back. Granted, he was culpable for the third goal because he dives in and misses the through ball, but hopefully he can get back to what we saw from him last season, because I do think he's going to be a key part if we're going to rebuild this defense. Hopefully with a better transfer team and a better sporting director in charge. I think he's going to be very useful to have alongside somebody who has a bit more experience if, again, we get somebody with the brain who can do our transfers next season. Santos came on for Lavia and did okay. Had some good moments on the ball, had a couple of decent defensive challenges. So it was better than Lavia, but that's not really saying much since Lavia really didn't give us anything. And Jorgensen came on as well for Sanchez, which is just great that Sanchez seems to be out for the rest of the season. Again, not that Sanchez has been phenomenal of late, but yeah, having to rely on Jorgensen for the final few matches is just peachy after what a great fucking performance today was. So that'll do it for me. Next up we got Liverpool, so that's going to be a fun thrashing for us to deal with, especially after they just lost to Man U. You know they're going to want to bounce back from that. It's really annoying that after what was a decent performance in the FA Cup semi-final, we make it through the final, there's a little bit more positivity. Feels a little bit better, and almost instantly. And yes, it took over a week to get to this match, but the very next match, we're done. Positivity's gone. We're back to feeling like shit. We're back to feeling like everything's just falling apart. But again, hoping that this is going to be enough to finally say, Winstanley and Stewart, you're done. You're not doing your jobs. You're failing year after year. Get out. Get somebody who has a brain. Because like I said before, I'm sick of watching this. But with all that being said, cue the outro. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more Chelsea previews, reviews, and talks. Also, let me know what your thoughts are down below, whether you agree, disagree, or just want to call me stupid. Let me know, we can talk about it, discuss all that good stuff. Also, if you want to hear me talk about TV shows and movies that I like, check out my channel Mason the Brock Henderson, where I upload reviews every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. As well as if you want to watch me play through video games and try to make it entertaining for you, I have a Let's Play channel, Meso Hendo Plays, where I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Also, if you do want to help me grow this channel, I do have a Patreon where all the funds and donations will go directly into improving this channel's quality. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to y'all later. Peace out, and up the Chels.